What's up guys, welcome back to Fancy Goldfish Fanatics. Today is new fish day, so make sure you stay tuned to find out more. Hey Fanatics family, welcome back. As always, check out those links in the description. Make sure you check out our website and our Facebook page. Today, as I said, we are going to be getting our first inhabitants for the new Oranda tank. That is right, we are going to be getting some new Oranda and the first ones that are going to be going into the 1,600 litre Fancy Goldfish Aquarium. As you've seen over the past 3 or 4 weeks, I've been getting this tank ready for its new inhabitants. We have the bubble wall along the back, we have the black substrate, and we have the filter as well. Now, I mentioned that I wasn't going to be cycling this filter, and what I'm going to be doing is getting some established media from my top view ranchu pond outside, and I'm going to be adding it to the tank when the fish get here. Now, just before I go and get the fish from my supplier, I'm going to be adding that bacteria or that seeded media as soon as I add the fish to the tank. So just before, whilst I'm floating the fish in the water, I will add that media into the tank off camera, and that's going to go into the filter. Now, quick rundown, quick overview on the tank. If you haven't seen it before or you don't know anything about it, this is a 1,600 litre aquarium, 2.4 metres long, 0.9 metres wide and 0.76 centimetres tall. It has a large inbuilt sump style filtration system. It also has a battery backup wave maker which provides flow, oxygen and circulation, and it also provides that in the event of a power cut. In the filtration system, we have approximately 35 kilos of media, being a combination of alpha grog, biohome and some ceramic balls, and then obviously I'm going to be adding another probably 1 kilo of biohome media into the filter as well. We also have 2 grades of sponge and some filter fleece. Now, the tank temperature is going to be at 23 degrees when the fish are added. The fish have come from abroad where the temperature has been 24 degrees in the pond, and I'm going to bring them into around 23 degree water and then slowly cool them down over the next couple of weeks to around room temperature, which will probably be sitting at around 18 to 19 degrees, and I will keep that nice and stable for the duration of their stay in the aquarium. So that is it on the aquarium. As you can see, we have the lights on. I'm going to be turning these off for acclimation, but I cannot wait to get these fish. So I'm going to head out now, pick them up, and I'll show you what we get. So catch you in a minute.
One eternity later.
So here we have it, the goldfish have arrived. You also may notice I do have a haircut before anyone says anything, but the goldfish have arrived. I have already opened the box and one of the fish is struggling quite a lot, which is why I kind of want to rush into this part of the video. So hopefully might be quite hard for you guys to see. We actually have 3 new Oranda. So the first one is the one that is struggling. Looks like the bag's a little bit deflated, but I'm going to get her or him into the tank, and she is actually a black Oranda, sort of a black gold kind of colour. And then the other 2 are another 2 calico fish as well. So I'm going to get those into the tank to acclimate. They are looking very stressed, unfortunately. This was a direct import. Looks like we had some probably hot water bottles to keep them warm, I assume, or potentially these were frozen to keep them cold, because they did come from Asia, so they were probably from quite a hot country, but they're in there to acclimate. I'm going to do the acclimation quite quick because they are very stressed and it's totting up whether it's best to get them in the water quickly and potentially have a bit of temperature shock and get them out of that really dirty water that they're in, or whether I let them acclimate a little bit longer. Definitely I do not want to be opening the top of the bag. As I've said before, when you open that bag, you release all of the CO2 out of the bag. The pH will be very low in the bag because lots of ammonia and carbonic acid would have dropped that pH down, which means that any ammonia in the bag is less toxic to the fish. However, once I open that bag, all of that gas will escape, fresh air will re-oxygenate the bag, the pH will then rise, causing the ammonia toxicity to be very, very toxic and kill the fish very quickly. So I'm going to get the box out of the way now. I'm probably going to be acclimating these guys for, I'd say, around 15 minutes, maybe less. The temperatures are quite similar. They were coming from a farm which was kept at 24 degrees, and this tank is about 22 to 22.5 because I knew there would be a slight temperature drop. I think the bags are probably around 21 degrees anyway, so I'm going to give them, 15 minutes or so, then we'll get the fish in the tank and hopefully they make it. And then obviously the lights are off now because I don't want to stress the fish out too much. They've been in a very dark box for the last 24, even potentially 30 hours. So I want to make sure they don't have any shock, or I minimize it as much as possible. So I'm going to give them a little bit longer to acclimate, as I said, probably another 10 to 15 minutes, and then we'll get them in the tank and let's check them out. So I'll catch you guys in a bit. So now the bags have been acclimating for about 15 minutes. This is the Oranda that is struggling the most, and I assume once I put these fish into the tank, they are probably going to go straight to the bottom, potentially even lie on the bottom, but I'm sure we can do our best to get them back to full health. You may also notice that the bag is slightly yellowish and greenish, and I'm pretty sure that's albumin, which from memory is a type of antibacterial kind of treatment. I'm going to open this bag up and get the fish into the tank. I want to make sure I minimize the amount of water that goes from the bag into the system, because that water is going to be extremely dirty. I might need to cut these rubber bands. So that water is going to be extremely dirty, and I definitely don't want any of that within the system. So I'm just going to get this opened up now. As I mentioned earlier, I definitely don't want I don't want to leave the fish long term in this bag. Now it's been opened, and yet the bag stinks of ammonia. So I'm going to gently lift the fish out. You can use a net, but I find with a large fish just like this, it's far easier for me to use my hand because the fish is very weak as well. But there we have it. There's the first one into the water. Hopefully, it's swimming down to the bottom, so hopefully it will be okay, but that bag absolutely stinks. So I'm going to get this bag out of the tank, and then we'll get the second two acclimated. So now I'm just cutting open the bands. Normally I try and save the bands, but quite frankly they are not that important compared to the fish that I have in these bags. I probably glossed over quite a few other factors as well, just because, as you might tell from my voice, I'm quite stressed with these fish. So let's get this bag open. These fish seem a little bit better. They are slightly smaller. There is always a risk when importing large fancies that you're going to end up with some problems, but I'm hoping from this shipment we should be okay. So here's another one of the black Oranda. This one seems a little bit more feisty, but there's a quick shot at it. I don't want to show them too much on camera because they are very stressed and their health is paramount, rather than sort of showing you guys. And there's the other one, nice calico. So I'm going to let those settle in the tank now for probably the next 24 hours, and then hopefully after they've settled in, we'll get some really nice videos of them. I'll even then be able to put the lights on, and then we can check them out. So I'll catch you guys in around 24 hours.
A few moments later.
So it has been actually now 48 hours. I know I said I would show you guys in 24 hours, but unfortunately yesterday I didn't get any time to film. But it has now been 48 hours, or just over 48 hours, since the fish have been in the tank. As you can see, we have the calico at the back. We also have the white and black panda style Oranda, and then finally in this back corner where you probably can't see too well, we have the other black Oranda, which has a little bit of orange on the tummy, maybe similar to an Apache, but as the fish settle in we will see those colours develop a little bit more and work out what they are. As you can tell in the past sort of 5 minutes of the video, I was very stressed, so I'm sorry if I did glaze over anything, because the fish, that black one especially, wasn't looking very good, and I didn't know if it was even gonna make it. But the fish have done so well. They've settled in really well. Doesn't look like we've got any buoyancy issues. For the first 24 hours they were sitting on the bottom. The activity has definitely increased over the past 2 days since they've been in the tank. and they're just overall looking a little bit better. Now, a few things I did miss when introducing fish that have been directly imported, especially so they've come from a complete another country and they haven't just been overnight couriered, they've been on an actual plane and come over. I definitely don't want to be feeding those fish for the first 48 hours. I want to make sure they have time to clear their system of anything, as the bacteria in the water is going to be completely different and the water conditions are going to be completely different to what they're used to. They may have some internal complications, and adding some high protein food especially, so that is not going to do the fish any good, and the fish potentially won't even want to eat it. But I want to minimize any potential differences that a new food or a different food could have to their gut, bioflora and fauna. So I definitely don't want to be feeding those fish 100% for the first 24 hours, and in most cases not for the first 48 hours. However, after that, I would tend to feed a slightly lower protein food, especially for the first 3 to 4 days, and then after that you can renew or go back to your normal regime of a high protein pellet or whatever diet you choose to use. So, as mentioned, I haven't fed them. I'm going to be giving them their first feed very soon, because they have been looking around the tank a little bit and sort of sifting in the sand. So I'm expecting that they're looking for a little bit of food, and this will help speed up their recovery. Now, as mentioned, when importing large fancies, anything over 5 inches, 4.5 to 5 inches, you're always likely to have complications. When I saw the large black and white Oranda on its side in the bag, if I'm honest, I wasn't shocked. I had that in the back of my mind that something is potentially going to go wrong. You can definitely end up with lots of swim bladder complications, fish a lot of the time being DOA, and you will end up with fish that can potentially have lots of long-term problems or not even make it. So that is definitely one of the risks with direct importing using a proper affiliated transshipper, in comparison to paying slightly more or maybe quite a bit more and purchasing from a shop, because you are eliminating a lot of that risk. Now, I've already had a look at the fish. They look very clean, which I'm really happy about. I've also noticed one anchorworm already, and I will be needing to do some scrapes of mucus and looking at them under the microscope to identify if they have any parasites. Because these fish have come directly from a farm, there is, I would say, in nearly 99% of cases they will end up with some kind of parasite, because they are in large numbers in large farm systems. So I'm going to have to check for that. That is the risk you take, and I definitely have anchorworms. Not sure what else they'll be, and that is why it's always good to quarantine, especially when bringing in fish from overseas. Obviously, buying from a dealer like Star Fisheries, for example, you're probably paying more money, but you are having that fish that has been quarantined for you. They have taken the risk on any DOA fish. They might, if they lose half of the box of fish, they take that risk, you don't. And you have that peace of mind that that fish has been in the country for 4, 6, 8, even longer weeks, and it is acclimatized to the temperature that generally you keep your tank at, and the water parameters of our UK, in this example, UK water. So they are the pros and cons. Now, hopefully you can't really see all the fish, but I have been overlaying a little bit of video footage for you to see. But overall, I'm so happy with the fish. They've done really well. My girlfriend has already named all of them. So the calico is Oreo. We also have Nero, which is the black and white goldfish. And then finally, right in the back corner that you can't see is Jaffa, because he has, or she has, orange underbelly and sort of a bronzy black on top. So I'm not going to be doing a naming video, unfortunately, for these fish, so they do already have names, and I'm really looking forward to doing the next import or the next buying trip of a few more fancies to add to the tank. Now, I won't be adding any more for the next 2 to 4 weeks, I would say maybe 3 or 4 weeks, because I want to let the biofilter mature. I want to get a little bit of algae growth, and I want to make sure these fish are treated for any parasites and they're happy and healthy first. As mentioned, I did add some mature biomedia, a couple of bags worth, not very big, but a couple of bags worth, to this filter. So it already has a little bit of bioflora and fauna within the biofilter. However, I want to let that mature, get up to a nice level, so I'm able to feed these fish a lot of food. So that is really it for the video. Hopefully you have enjoyed this roller coaster of a journey adding the new Oranda to the tank. Let me know down below what you think of the new fish. Hopefully we will have some spotlight episodes on each individual fish, looking at the positives to it and also the flaws and basically helping you guys at home in selecting your fancy goldfish. So that is it for this video. As always, thank you all for watching. Remember to keep those water changes up and happy fish keeping.